Hey there, this is Vicki Arsenault, and you're listening to another episode of Facing Your Fears. Hey, I hope you guys are doing great this week. I have a bit of a cold, so I may sound a little bit different today, and this will probably be a shorter episode just so that I can get through without coughing. But I didn't want to miss a Tuesday. I have not missed a Tuesday since God asked me to start this back in December, so we're going to go with this today. So while I have been feeling a little under the weather over the past week, I've been looking through Luke chapter 8. And it's one of the stories that we're probably all pretty familiar with, and it's about when Jesus calms the storm. So basically what is happening is that Jesus says to the disciples, hey, let's cross over to the other side of this lake. So they all get in the boat and they start heading across the lake. And I don't know how long it was going to take them to get from one side to the other, but it was going to be enough time for Jesus to have a nap anyway. So Jesus goes to have a nap. Well, along the way, after he's sound asleep, this storm comes and starts really freaking all of the disciples out. This massive storm. So eventually the disciples panic and they go to Jesus and they're like, hey, we're about to sink, help. So Jesus gets up and he rebukes the storm. Everything is suddenly calm and silent, and he says to them, where's your faith? And the disciples are like, whoa, what just happened here? This was a storm. So here are a few things that I just want to point out about this story that I really enjoy. First of all, Jesus said, let's cross. Jesus said, let's cross from this side to that side. So if Jesus says we're going from here to there, you can be sure I don't care what happens, you are getting from point A to point B. There's no like, oh, whoops, sorry, miscalculated that. Didn't know the storm was coming. No, Jesus knows, right? So in your own life, when you know you're supposed to do something and God has asked you to do something to get from point A, or has said to you, we're going from point A to point B, you can be sure no matter what comes up against you, you are getting from point A to point B. Secondly, this massive storm comes. Now, these guys are skilled at fishing. It's not their first voyage on a boat across a lake. This is not new to them. They're very skilled at what they do. They're fishermen. But this storm comes and it's so massive that they start to freak out. Like, they probably tried everything they knew to do in their power. They probably didn't suspect a storm coming in the first place. I'm sure most sailors know, or fishermen know, how the clouds look and how the water is. They know all the things about being out on the water. And so all of a sudden this massive storm comes and the boat is at the point where they're about to sink. It's getting full of water, all kinds of crazy stuff happening. Now, how long that happened, I don't know. I don't know how long it took for that storm to be happening before they went to get Jesus. That I don't know. But I do know these people were skilled on the water and with a boat. And then they finally did go to Jesus. And then Jesus rebukes the storm. So in our lives, just to kind of bring this back to something that we can use, we are going to, like, God is going to ask you to do something and you're going to face some sort of storms. The thing is, too, you might be really equipped to handle these types of storms. And yet, they keep battering at you and beating on you and all this to the point where you are like, okay, I don't know what to do anymore. I've tried everything I know. I don't know what to do. Just like the disciples. And just like them, you're going to be able to just go back to Jesus and say, hey, I need a little help. I don't know what to do at this point. And Jesus is always going to be there. Like, we try to do stuff of our own strength sometimes. And then finally, when that's not working anymore, we can still go to Jesus, just like the disciples did. and Jesus calms the storm. Now, when he asks them about where's your faith, I don't believe he's ridiculing them or anything like that. I don't think he's trying to make them be like, come on, man, where's your faith? Why aren't you believing in me? What's the matter with you? Like, I don't think Jesus has that kind of attitude. Probably I would have that kind of attitude, right? Because we don't always have the most Christ-like spirit and the heart of Christ in every single situation. You'd be like, why? Why are you upset about this? Come on now. But Jesus is amazing, and he's simply saying to them, wait, I told you we're going from here to there. Like, you didn't really need to worry. You got to trust me. I know what I'm doing. So I don't think it was necessarily like a rebuke toward them, but maybe more of like an encouragement, like, hey, you can trust me. You don't have to doubt. When I say that this is going to happen, we're getting from point A to point B, we're crossing this lake, you can believe I'm going to get you there. And just like the disciples, we're going to be in awe and think to ourselves, oh, I wonder why I didn't just go to him sooner. And at this point, we could even say, I wonder why I didn't just stand on this truth that I don't care what storms are coming against me. He said I'm going from here to here, and I am going to get there. You know, you could kind of take it either way. You could either say, okay, well, good. I don't have the faith to handle this storm by myself, so I'm going to go back to Jesus and just be like, okay, wait, did you really say we're going from here to here? Because it totally doesn't seem like it at the moment. Or also, you might get to a point where the massive storm comes and you are equipped to handle the storm, and you just say, you know what? Jesus said we're getting from here to there. I don't care if I show up on one slab of wood that is left over from the boat. This is what I'm going to float on to get to that other side because he said I'm going there. So I imagine that takes different amounts of faith. There are certain areas in my life where, yeah, I'd float on one little tiny piece of wood for a raft to get where Jesus told me. And then there were other parts where I'd probably see the storm coming and run to Jesus right away and be like, wait, I don't know what to do here. Help. And I don't think there's anything wrong with either one, because we're all growing in our faith. We're all growing in our knowledge of God. We're all learning to hear his voice. We're learning to trust that what we heard is his voice and not just our own thoughts or emotions or ideas. So we have to give ourselves a little bit of grace, but also just recognize these things, that when God says you're getting from point A to point B, he's not going to leave you hanging. You're getting from point A to point B. That when the storm comes, you are equipped to handle the storm, and you can trust in his words that he's getting you from point A to point B. But when your faith does waver, you can go to Jesus still and say, hey, I don't have enough faith for this. Can you help me, please? And he totally will. And then you're going to be in awe about it. And I think it's one of those things that's going to end up building your faith in the long run. So that is it for today, guys. I will see you next week, and I hope that this encouraged you, and if so, I'd love to hear from you. Other than that, I'll see you next time. Bye.